Last week, the Blueprint Institute, a centre-right think tank in Sydney, held a meeting at which the problems within the Liberal Party were openly discussed. The Sydney Morning Herald reported that Rob Stokes, a 15-year veteran of Macquarie Street, said there had been a growing tendency to, quote, muzzle dissent lately. The newspaper also defined liberalism as, quote, the protection of individual freedom against mechanisms of social control, unquote. That sounds more like anarchy to me. Even John Stuart Mill acknowledged that freedom came with responsibilities, such as the level of philosophical debate and the level of understanding of our inherited freedoms these days. Let's get South Australian Senator Alex Antic, who knows more about these topics than most people, to talk about it. Senator Antic, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks for having me. I'm not sure I know more about anything than anyone, to be honest, but I'll do my best.
Well, let's start with the muzzling of debate, shall we? You're in the party. Has there been any muzzling of debate within the Liberal Party lately?
Well, look, I don't actually think there has, and I know those comments were directed to the New South Wales division, so I'll leave that for members of the New South Wales division to comment on. But certainly in the SA division, look, I don't think so. I don't see any muzzling. I don't hear about it. I certainly don't experience it myself, as is probably becoming clear. But look, I think the truth is that there is always a divergence of views, and I sometimes think this so-called muzzling of views is more a reflection on perhaps the left of the party feeling uncomfortable with some of the positions that are thrown up from the Conservative wing of the party, and that's where this suggestion comes from. I certainly don't feel any of that, but I know there have been instances in other divisions, some of the ruminations about comments made about the culture wars, of course, are some of the topical ones. I think, generally speaking, the party agrees largely, I think, with the economic and the dry Conservative stuff, and I think probably the culture wars are where we sort of get into this, this sort of rough water a little bit. But look, I really don't think so. Certainly from an SA point of view, I feel as though we still have pretty open discussions about these sorts of things, and we certainly do at our state council. With policy debate comes up, and I know that's consistent with some of the others. And I think actually the WA division just had their state council meeting and had quite a robust discussion around the voice, which they ultimately did not endorse. And I would expect that to continue broadly. So look, from an SA point of view, I don't feel it.
Well, one of the delegates at this Blueprint Institute meeting did say that the Liberal Party needs to step away from the culture wars and focus more on as you say, the pragmatic and sort of definable issues like taxation and other measures of prosperity. But as everyone knows, Alex, politics is downstream from culture. How can anyone argue that we should step away from the culture wars? That's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is wrong, Fred. You can't. And in fact, I've been a fairly loud voice for the argument that we shouldn't, and that we should be more, I suppose, forward in our views on the culture wars.